Hi, my name is Leilani, and in this video I'm going to share with you my summer plans for homeschooling my kids, what we're doing, what we're not doing. Also, this is kind of like one of those mind-blowing epiphany moments that I had, so I'm going to share with you that. This is also a collaboration with Rachel over at 7 and All. So if you need some inspiration for your summer homeschooling, whether you choose not to homeschool, whether you choose to rigorously homeschool, whether you're just kind of like a little bit of a break, whatever it is, there is a group of ladies down in the description box below in a playlist where you can get some inspiration from, see what works best for you. Now, I am a former public and private school teacher, and I am a homeschool evaluator for the state of Florida, where I also do testing as well. I have 4 wonderful kids, and we do have special needs in the family. So the big turnaround for me was our spring vacation. We took the entire week of Passover or unleavened bread off. The whole week. And then there were a couple days in between that and our spring vacation where we did a couple things of schoolwork. It was very, very simple, straightforward, but it was wonderful. And during that time, I realized that it's quality over quantity. So we did writing, we did Spanish, math, piano for 30 minutes, and devotional. And we also listened to the Lord of the Rings all week long. And so when we took our time with, for example, writing, me and my son sat down, edited through his paper, played with a bunch of different words that he could use to create new emotion. It was so much fun. It really was. And then I was able to do that with Ethan and another subject and switch and be able to enjoy educating my kids instead of feeling like I have to throw a bunch of stuff, pack it all into one day, and always worry if I'm not getting it done. Quality over quantity. And of course, when I was on vacation, this all just kind of sunk in, especially since we went to North Carolina in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it was somewhere. I could just hear birds, and we saw fireflies for the first time and played in waterfalls and rode a train. But now we're back getting into the swing of things, and we are now on our summer break as I speak to you right now. We usually school straight through and take off when we need to, but I'm going to start approaching schooling in general differently. It's kind of like I've done it before, and I know that I love doing it this way, but then I always go back to thinking I have to get all these things packed into one day. So let me tell you how my summer is going to situate. We are going to do our core subjects. So math is going to go straight through the summer. If they finish their math curriculum, great. We'll just take a break from math. All 3 of my kids, not my youngest daughter. I'm going to talk about her in a second because she's going into kindergarten next year, and we have a whole, she has Down syndrome, and we'll talk about her in a second, okay? Then we're gonna do Spanish because I've decided that Spanish is a core curriculum. They need to know Spanish. We live in the state of Florida. If you wanna know what I'm using for both of those, more detail, you can check it out on my 7th grade, 5th grade, 3rd grade curriculum picks. Then we're gonna do piano for 30 minutes a day. Devotionals, of course, devotionals. Spelling, we're gonna do spelling until they're finished with their book. And I've made the decision as a parent that both of my older boys, my 5th grader as well as my 7th grader, up and coming 7th grader, don't need to do spelling anymore. So with all that, you have spelling, math, Spanish, 30 minutes of piano, and also 30 minutes of reading plus devotionals. Very simple. All of that in a day should take them, honestly, about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours tops. And I told them they need to get that done in the morning because my boys like to wake up at 7:30 in the morning. After that, we're gonna pick one thing to study in depth. Now for the first half of the summer, we're going to do a unit study. I talked about this before and I was super excited on poetry. This is an Usborne book. There are 44 lessons or pages in here. We're gonna do approximately 2 a day, and I figured it's probably gonna take us about 6 weeks to do at most. I have a book for each and every one of my kids, and now obviously not for my youngest, but so 3 books for my 3 oldest. Here is the table of contents. So what's nice about poetry is one of those things that we don't really get into, so I thought it would be fun to get into it. We're gonna stick to that plan. Get into something and enjoy it and soak in it. So this is the first lesson. It's just reading. The second lesson is going to be ridiculous rhymes and ludicrous limericks. It's going to teach them a little bit about it, and then they have to write their own limerick. the point is to enjoy each other's company, have fun doing this, just make it fun. We've done unit studies like this in the past. We've done it with Truth Quest, where we've done American history. Last year we did a botany unit study like this. I did US Constitution, I've done some gather round, and now it's time just to get creative and pick a topic that I like and go with it. So this is poetry, like I said, about 6 weeks. When we are done with poetry, I want to pull out the Apologia Chemistry and Physics book. I've also done Apologia with my kids as a unit study. We did botany. It worked so well. We wake up in the morning, sit down and read half of the chapter, and then do a bunch of science experiments for the rest of the afternoon. We soak ourselves in the topic, and it's wonderful. After that, we're gonna move into the Middle Ages, which that might actually be in the fall. So it's not really summer. But my plan is to continue on this pattern of keeping my 3 main core subjects and some kind of language arts, and then picking a topic. Now I know poetry is technically language arts, but it's kind of an entity on its own. Now let's think about this a little bit. Now I know a lot of parents, actually had a parent say, why don't you just want to do a general science every single year? It's great to do a general science because then they get all of it in the year. Well, why not do something specific? So instead of glossing over it, you're getting more in-depth richness of the subject. It's so much better. Kids learn better that way. We learn better that way. Same thing is true when we're in college, right? We don't take a general science class in college. No, we take like environmental science or biology with a biology lab, or with histories, we'll take art history or music history. So why are we not doing that in our homeschool? The other thing that's really nice too is when you do those unit studies, and they're writing their poetry, for example, let's just use my example, they're working on their handwriting skills as well. They're working on their spelling skills as well. They're working on their vocabulary skills as well. So it's more of a hands-on doing instead of just busy work with a workbook. There is a time and place for the busy work and the workbook, but when you're doing it, you tend to learn. You tend to learn better when you're doing it. Just something to think about, something that I've been kind of thinking about. It's been rolling around in my little head. Philosophy that I had a while ago. I lose it because I get excited about so many different things and I just want to do it all is what happens. And I end up burdening my kids. But I want to talk about my youngest daughter and the impact that it has made on our family. We had upped a lot of her therapies. We had 9 sessions a week. It was just hard. It was very hard. And we were balancing it all. Some of it was at home, some of it was in the clinic. The kids were coming with me. We were doing school in the car. I have videos on it if you want to see it in the description box below. But what we did for the summer, we have dropped one of her OTs, so now we're only doing 2 occupational therapies a week. 2 of her therapies, speech and occupational therapy, my mother-in-law is taking her, which leaves me to only drive her around to 4 therapies with the other kids. You guys, if I was able to cry right now, I would be in tears. The relief that this has on us is huge. Oh, I didn't mention, she was in dance class. We had to drop out of dance class because she was done with dance. Same with swimming. She was in swimming 2 times a week. We haven't dropped out of that yet. Once, you know, we finish the classes that we already paid for, we are probably gonna take a break because she's pretty much, I'm done. I'm done with swimming is kind of her attitude, and it's leaking into her aqua therapy session. So that would leave us to 4 places we have to take her, period, during the week. We do have co-ops that are closing down for the summer, which means we have more time together as a family. This gives me a little bit more time to focus in on some of those needs that she needs to work on. We've been doing it, we've been working on it, but it's become a very heavy burden for me. For example, potty training. As I understand, and as I've been talking to other moms that have children with Down syndrome, potty training is just another ball game. It's not something that it's like, hey, run around and they'll learn. There's sensory processing involved, there's stubbornness, there's low tone, there's all these different elements that come into play when it comes to potty training. And it has been definitely a journey. I have lots of thoughts on that. I did try to do some potty training journey videos in the beginning. I have to admit that I have taken a lot of them down because reflecting back on them, I should have waited. I should have waited to start her on potty training because I think I pushed too hard in the beginning, and really honestly, she's not gonna learn until she's ready. But what we are doing is we are sticking to a very flexible, but we are sticking to a schedule, and I'm having patience with her. Same thing is true when it comes to speech. Now, using her talker is kind of how she's been communicating a lot lately, and I'm having to pull out games and do activities with the talker to just encourage her to use it and communicate, because now she's starting to push the buttons and then say the words. Believe it or not, doing the talker is helping her to become more verbal. It didn't make sense to me until I started seeing it in action. She's also learning how to read that way too. We have been doing handwriting without tears. She hates writing. As much as I love handwriting without tears, we are going to a homeschool convention and we will be looking for something else. A little bit, maybe more gentle. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna look for. She's not progressing, and I don't know if it's a matter of just taking a break from it, because she's coloring. She pulls out coloring books and she colors all over the place. I don't know if it's a matter of me just sitting and coloring with her, and then every once in a while saying, hey, let's write your name, or let's try to trace over this word, and approach it at more of a gentle type way. Because when I really push with her, she resists it, gets stubborn, and hates it. So this is what I've learned about her. Anything that I push, she like rebels against it. I mean, it's typical. I have a 13-year-old for a 5-year-old. She's 5. So that's what I'm going to be doing with her. I haven't quite decided. I'm probably just going to keep playing with different ideas. I'll continue to sit down with her. I do sit down with her about 15 minutes twice a day to just maybe read a book, to do an activity, do stickers. I do a lot of stuff with Usborne books, and that has been an amazing, it's just good. It's just really good, actually. Usborne books has worked fabulous for her because she wants to do it, and she's learning some of those other skills along with it. And I'll keep you posted on what kind of happens with her, because I don't think I can really set anything in stone with her when it comes to her education and homeschooling. I have to be flexible. I have to have the goals in mind, and then how I approach those goals with her occupational therapist, physical therapist, and speech therapist. I hope this information was useful for you, and go ahead and check out the playlist down in the description box below. Until then, I will see you in our next videos. Also, be sure to check out those videos that I'm doing with Naomi and how I'm educating her just through the year, because she is going into kindergarten next year, and this is kind of a big deal. And I'll go ahead and leave one of those videos at the end right here in the boxes. So thank you guys again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.